My name is Grace, and it is my mission to create period-accurate cosplays for Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo, one for every decade she's existed in. Why, you ask? Because I find her a singularly fascinating character. I originally assumed when I started this series that her costumes didn't change that much, but both her and her character design have fluctuated wildly throughout the years. I'm digging in to figure out a little bit more why. Meanwhile, we're gonna do a lot of sewing. This is Decades of Daphne, 1999. The 90s was arguably bookended by some of the worst and then some of the best Scooby-Doo fare that Hanna-Barbera has had to offer us. The early 90s saw Scooby-Doo finishing out its tenure at ABC with a pup named Scooby-Doo. It originated in 1988 and went through to 91. Riding that post-Muppet Babies wave, the gang was aged down to about 10, and Scooby back into puppyhood. It also introduced, a surprising amount of lore. A surprising amount of lore that stuck around. Moving away from the jet setting and real monsters of the earlier 80s, hello. This version was a happy suburb full to the brim with adults who were so ready to mask up and do crimes that were easily solved by children. We have to suspend our disbelief. We have to suspend our disbelief. It is for 6-year-olds. And you cannot apply adult human logic to that. That's not the way the world works in television writing. But I mean still, they're 10. They're 10. Daphne was recharacterized as a prissy fashion girl, easily upset by getting mud on her white go-go boots. Her late 80s outfit was completely revamped, with not a speck of green or purple in sight. She sports a chunky pink sweater, a pink skirt, white go-go boots, and coordinating accessories. Daphne's old money heritage is also established here with the introduction of their family butler, Jenkins. Velma's character is established as a sort of proto-Ferb. She speaks rarely and has the ability to engineer and build impossible machinery in a matter of minutes. Her line count goes up over time, but her augmented skill set echoes throughout later Scooby series, establishing Velma as being genius-level smart, which in the past, she was just smart. Bit of a nerd. This series is also the series that establishes Scooby's full name as Scoobert, which, it's small, but it's important to me. What's wild about all of this is that it almost killed the franchise. Initially, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo was very successful, but it's not very popular in the eyes of history, and it's easy to see why. All of the gang have been portrayed in very juvenile, one-dimensional ways. Now, this makes sense for the show and the demographic they were going for of young kids, but the thing is it gets really annoying really fast. Another Scooby-Doo property wouldn't be released for another 7 years. In the meantime, the big conglomerates were merging and shuffling and moving around. Warner Brothers got married to Turner Broadcast, and that meant little old Hanna-Barbera got to mosey on over to Cartoon Network. Scooby-Doo spent the majority of the 90s playing reruns on Cartoon Network, its sister station Boomerang, and if you're in Canada, Teletoon. Believe it or not, that sustained enough interest in the series that Hanna-Barbera okayed a quadrilogy of movies in the late 90s, the first two coming out in 1998 and 1999, and they're heavy hitters. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, and Scooby-Doo and Cyber Chase. When Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island hit video store shelves in 1998, it changed everything. I could talk about these movies at length. Aside from the films taking a darker turn than anything Scooby had before, they brought back the idea of real supernatural baddies, and they wildly reshaped the characters again. Now the gang were all adults in their mid-20s to early 30s. It's never confirmed. Daphne hosts a magazine-style news show that's taking a ghostly turn. Freddy's her one-man camera crew. Velma owns a bookstore in New England. Shaggy and Scooby are shagging and scooping around. For if they do not yearn to be cowardly and snack, is it really Scooby-Doo? With this character overhaul comes yet more redesigns. Aging up the characters has a larger impact on Daphne than anyone else. Her green and purple color palette returns, but this time in a camera-ready professional skirt suit. This makes sense for her character. And in later films in the quadrilogy, they do show her in more casual and different outfits. But for our purposes and to maintain a constant, I think we have to ask, what would teen Daphne wear in 1998? We have a guiding light. There is another show we can look to. A show that has nothing to do with Scooby-Doo and everything to do with Scooby-Doo. A show that's in conversation with being a teen sleuth and hunting down the supernatural, plus looking cute while doing it. A show with a lead that was about to become inextricably linked to Scooby-Doo. We gotta talk Buffy. Buffy the Vampire Slayer first aired in 1997 as a mid-season replacement on the WB for the series Savannah. If you're not familiar with this cultural touchstone, Buffy the Vampire Slayer follows Buffy, a trendy Californian teen who also happens to be the Slayer, the most recent in a long line of young women chosen to, and I quote, battle the forces of evil. Like Scooby-Doo, it featured a gang of teens, one a bit nerdy, one a bit cowardly, and one a trendy, curious, level-headed sleuth. The main characters of Buffy the Vampire Slayer actually referred to their friend group as the Scoobies. So it wasn't just implied inspiration. It was pretty clear the influence. Buffy was an instant success. It spawned 7 seasons, multiple spin-offs, and multiple mediums, and it established its star, Sarah Michelle Gellar, as an action star. While the influence of Scooby on Buffy is very clear, I don't have direct proof that Buffy didn't influence Scooby right back. But I wouldn't be surprised if the people at Hanna-Barbera took notice of Buffy and it went into the rewrite of Daphne. Especially considering the fact that Sarah Michelle Gellar would go on to play Daphne in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. But we'll get to that in the 2000s. Taking inspiration from Buffy's love of sundresses, aesthetic-only layering, and ditzy little prints, I've decided to make this Simplicity Grooves collection pattern. I absolutely need to shout out fellow Daphne lover and vintage pattern expert Stephanie Canada for her help in dating this pattern before I bought it. The Grooves collection, A, I'm obsessed with it, but B, lives in that nebulous space of late 90s to early 2000s sort of Y2K look. The brand spans both millennia, and I wanted to make sure I stayed on the 90s side of the line. And according to the copyright, this one is from 1999. Thank you, Stephanie. By the way, if you are one of the many people who are not Stephanie Canada watching this, go check out their channel. I mean, come on now. Come on now. Much like the difference between the early 90s and the late 90s in Scooby-Doo, early 90s to the late 90s in fashion was also a drastic change. Silhouettes slimmed down, the drop waist was ditched in favor of the Empire. The colors really definitely changed quite a bit. They went from cool jewel tones that I just love to much warmer, richer earth tones. This dress and jacket combo is actually pretty close to what Daphne wears in Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, which came out in 2001. But that actually makes sense and makes me still believe that I should do this for the 90s. The thing is, with animation, especially animated film, production takes a lot longer. And so while this movie came out in 2001, the character design and therefore Daphne's outfit was likely drafted up in the late 90s. Let's go live our Buffniest life. Our Buffniest life? Our Baffniest life. Let's make a dress. I chose this polyester bedsheet for my fit this time, mainly for its ditzy dot print. I'm really coming to loathe polyester as a fabric choice. No matter how well I smooth the fabric or how on grain I think I am, it always lays just a little bit funny in the final product. But I still think this comes out pretty cute. As per usual, I started with the darts. It's a little trickier to sew curved darts, but I love the shape these ones give. Then I signed up, grabbed my number, stared down the elephant watering can, and entered the interfacing marathon. What I pondered as I made this outfit was my original thesis of this series. When I set out to make a cosplay for every decade of Daphne, I really did think that she didn't get nearly the update she deserved most decades. As I've researched, I'm starting to see why. Scooby-Doo is sustained by two main pillars of watch experience: reruns and new shows. The new shows bring novelty, a new interpretation, a new twist, a new way to look at the gang, and so on and so forth. It frequently renews interest in the Scooby Gang and brings new viewers into the fold. But the reruns will always be there as a standard. You can always go back to the originals, because most of them stand the test of time. And if you love the gang but don't love the originals, there are likely to be more series that are copying the blueprint of the original, but with a modern sensibility for you anyway. This buttonhole in the middle front of the bodice is going to be the way we tie our shoulder straps together, so c'est très important that it's properly finished. Plus, an excuse to play with fire. I don't know if this outfit is cute or insane, but I'm experiencing childlike whimsy. So I don't care. Daphne's gonna have to do double duty this time. We are deep into the 90s. I'm wearing a square-necked top that is, of course, Daphne green. I went ahead and decided to make my birthday party Daphne-themed this year. I asked all of my friends to come as any version of Daphne they like, so long as they come as Daphne. And while I have suitable options, I want to look cute. And the 90s is cute. I am officially on a deadline I gotta get down to. And while I love to work on this stuff, October is a busy month. I have a little less than 2 weeks to get this done, and on top of my multiple jobs and my Halloween costume. So here's what I've completed. I've got the facings attached. I've got the buttonhole. And I have the pleats completed in the front and the back of the skirt. So basically, I've got all the individual things done. All that's left is to put it together, put a zipper in it, make the ties. Oh, I have to turn such tiny, tiny, tiny tubes, and I hate it. And then, just make a whole cardigan real quick. That's fine, right? That's cute. We're not worrying about that. So, I guess I better get rolling. I better keep on rolling. I tried sewing a safety pin into my strap so that I could have a finished end when I pulled it through, but honestly, the safety pin and I were locked in battle for like 15 minutes before I had to cut the end off and refinish that strap. I skipped the pain on the second strap and left the ends open until I just turned the tube. Then, I attached the fronts to the backs. Well, because, my fronts and backs are generally attached. Wouldn't that be wild if we were detachable down the middle? I bet appendix removals would be a breeze. Anyways, Scooby-Doo. Right. Even though the gang's aged up, these are all pretty standard Scooby-Doo mysteries, with a charlatan pulling some strings, even when the monsters are real. I think that's what really drew audiences back in, a return to a classic form with some intriguing edits. Notably, the first movie in this series was genuinely a bit scary, which was a tone that Scooby-Doo had never taken before, despite its monstrous content. In the 90s, there are a few notable tweaks to the Daphne formula. Freddy and Daphne's nebulous relationship is thrust forward in moments of jealousy, suggesting that the two are together and monogamous but never really stating it. Often it's Freddy's eyes that wander, leaving Daphne terse about it.
Oh, thank God, my camera battery's dying.
In the 90s, Daphne's ability to handle herself also increases, which is matched only by her hunger for mystery. In Zombie Island, out of pure reflex, she flips a man. While this doesn't seem like a big deal, it counterpoints Daphne's earlier portrayals as an eager mystery solver who often ends up a damsel in distress. Danger-prone Daphne. This is arguably very driven by the socio-political climate of American culture in the 90s. The 90s saw the rise of third-wave feminism and its corporate cousin, girl power. Third-wave feminism made the personal political, fought for more nuance in the act of being a woman, rather than only upholding traditional gender values or only rebelling. Girl power, on the other hand, mainly took the shape of the Spice Girls shouting at us, "Girls can do anything! Buy Pepsi! And don't think too hard about challenging society!" Whether people were engaging with feminism and womanhood or not, they lived in a world where discussion of it was everywhere, good, bad, and otherwise. Of course, the way this played out for Daphne was the much more diffuse, girl power, girls can do anything interpretation. But it does explain her casual martial arts abilities. My teeth are extra sharp, my body's gross and hairy, I'm running in the dark, I love you so much, it's scary!
Lovely. Is your fester?
It's Wednesday morning, and I've dyed my hair. Daphne approacheth. However, we are still far from where we need to be. We are just over 3 days out, because this is the beginning of Wednesday, not the end of Wednesday, and the party is in the evening. And this is where we're at. The jacket is an open vest. And the dress is actually almost done, but it's still completely open in the back, and nothing has the ribbon it should have. I put up a poll on Instagram to see, should I do lilac accents or green accents? And green destroyed. Here's the thing, I still really like the lilac accents. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is put the lilac accents on the dress and then the green accents on the jacket, so that the jacket is the more noticeable thing, but the dress still has that little extra bit of Daphne flair. This is what I consider to be a win-win. I don't know if y'all agree, but you know, why not both? I have just under an hour to do anything I want to do today before I have to go to work. So the goal is just get the sleeves onto the jacket. It doesn't have to be done and closed up. I just want to get the sleeve caps inset because I prefer to do sleeves that way. I'm wasting time. Come on, let's go. Let's book it. Here, I eased in the sleeves by basting the sleeve caps and gathering ever so slightly. That way, when I pinned them together, I had a little more wiggle room to make it work. Oh no, okay. No. We've learned, and we're going to listen to the teachings. Those teachings being that you want to have the ungathered side of the garment up against the presser foot instead of the gather side, so that your gathers aren't being rearranged as you sew. And you know what? It came out not too bad. A couple of tucks, but far better than some inset sleeves I've done in the past. This dress wouldn't be complete without some trim, so of course I obliged it. Then, I tackled the jacket, button loop, and facings. In the morning, it was time to do battle with the zipper. It was so ridiculously long, so I started by making a new stopper and going from there. Could I borrow you for a minute? You're actually needed in the... What can I say other than oh my god? Apparently Piper also has some opinions. Piper, do you care to share your thoughts? Penny for your thoughts, Piper. Please don't use the litter box right now. She chose not to comment at this time. Hello? Hello? I have finally inserted the zipper. See, okay, I gave you opportunity to comment and you didn't want to say anything, so I'm just gonna mosey through. All I have left now, essentially, is adding on the green accents to my jacket, which, to be fair, she is my supervisor and she is inspecting it, and that is part of her union job. I'm gonna do as much of that off camera as possible because it is like 3 p.m. on Thursday. I do not have any time tomorrow, and the party is Saturday. And did I mention it was Halloween? I'm busy tonight. I'm real busy tonight, so I'm gonna do all the hemming off camera, and I might pop back in to show you my beautiful, beautiful trim, and we can pick out a button together. How about that? You and me. Okay? Does that sound good to you? Work check approved? Piper, I can't let you be rubbing up on the microphone. People get angry at me that the scissors are too close to my face, and I'm an adult with training. And they're blunt. But you're a cat. Is there a good button in there? Let's dive deep.
Oh, she's going the wrong way! Oh my god! Oh.
Use the camera.
She eats the camera! She loves the camera! She hates the camera! Oh my god, she's a broadcast party girl! Yay!
It's January. I'm cozy because it's January. And we're nesting and surviving. Sorry this one took so long. Sometimes that's just how the cards fall. Clearly, I got the dress finished in time, which was the important thing. It was giving exactly what I wanted. I felt like Daphne Cher Horowitz. I felt like Buffy. I felt almost more like Cordelia, who is Buffy's even more fashionable frenemy, who is a vapid airhead and yet also very sweet at times. She's kind of mean, she's kind of weird. She's whatever Buffy needs her to be in the moment. Buffy the show, not Buffy the person. If she was what Buffy needed her to be in the moment, she would just be 100% cooler and nicer, but also 100% more of a boring character. If I start getting into the Buffy of it all, we're gonna be here all day. I really love how this came out. It was very cute, but as I kind of said earlier, don't love the polyester choice, but really love the pattern. I think I'm definitely gonna make this again. Probably just in a cotton. I might even bring it in a little bit. It was surprisingly a bit wide and loose on me, which I was not expecting. I mean, that's why you make a muslin, right? Needless to say, this was a win. Had a great time at the party, felt cute as all get out, and yeah, I will be making this pattern again, just not as a cosplay. That's one of my favorite things about this series is if I just like a pattern, it's clothes. It's just clothes. And I'm really happy. I think we nailed what if Daphne was a real person and that person was a teenager in 1999. With that said, I'm calling it. Happy New Year. I very much look forward to getting out as many videos as I can this year. 3 is a little measly for my personal preference, so we'll see what we can do. But for now, I'll see you on the flip-flop. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Actually, that's a pretty good Scooby. Okay, we're calling it.